the Talon Outdoor Show. I'm Charlie.
And I'm JD.
I'm Fred.
Captain Paul Tire back.
And I'm Grant.
Yeah, Cal, welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Miss y'all guys.
Hail, the gang's all
It's
here.
been a couple of weeks.
I know. It's been.
What's that time of year? He's
Yep.
he's busy working
Yeah.
while we in here goofing off.
We had we're
I
doing
have been too. It's been, I don't know what's going on. It's been crazy.
3 weeks of full moon.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been busy. I mean, I haven't been able to play but like 2 rounds of golf.
Oh,
I mean,
bless your heart.
Did you hit another
Oh, my
hole in one?
Lord.
No, and
You like you hit a hole in one, like every third time you go. Or
I
something.
the chances of that happening again are astronomical. I mean,
Well,
That's what you said.
all Paul does is go fishing every day.
Yep.
I mean, you know, that's what kind of life is that, man?
Terrible, I tell you what. And especially, just to everybody out there, the shell cracker getting ready. It's so close. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be fun.
it seems that way because
Paul-
there's some individuals across the pond from me that tend to fish with cane poles and sit on buckets. And
It's that time of year.
I've been
that time of year.
seeing them come out.
I got a date. As soon as this show's over, I'm headed out the door.
You got a date?
Fishing date.
Oh,
Where you
My
going?
my daughter.
oh, okay.
My daughter and her boyfriend. I told them I'd take them this evening. I think we're gonna go to Lake Monkey Business. There in Colorado
yeah.
Lakes.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that's a good place to go.
As long as you with
Let's
them,
stop
you don't
it.
want them
Well,
out
right,
doing monkey business without you there.
Precisely right. We not going around no monkey business.
Oh,
My wife hit me up the other night and says Jessie wants to go to Dothan Saturday with her little friend, and she refuses to call him a boyfriend. But and I'm like, oh, it's just Dothan. There's nothing to do in Mariana. So I said, when I was a kid, we went to Dothan. She looked at me and I went, yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea either.
They're going to Bible study?
And I said, you know, he's 17, she's 17, he's 18 or 17. And so I don't know what it is, but she goes to Chipola in the dual enrollment thing as a junior at the high school, which I'm proud of her for. But she meets these little college boys. Well, the Chipola college boys, JD, do you remember those days?
I swear to can't
See?
tell those
See?
secrets, sir.
See, I know, but you know, it's that phase in life when you move on and.
I don't
and do
know. I know what
whatever.
I was like when I
She's
was a
a good-
college
she's
boy, and
a-
I wouldn't let anybody's daughter date me.
She's one of those. She's super smart. I love her to death. She's a beautiful girl. She got all that going on, and which means I'll kill him. Son, if you ever hear this, just know it. Well, you may not hear it.
Well,
because
Allie's
it'd be
little-
hard to hear it from 6 feet down.
Allie's it started out he was the friend boy, and now it's the boyfriend. You know, when it has to, she goes, he's gonna have to ask me. It's gonna have to be official, and I'm like, okay, well,
How do they do that now?
they took her out to dinner on Valentine's Day and gave her some candy and stuffed animal and flowers and
candy?
asked her to be his boyfriend. I guess
that
I
all
don't
it
know
takes?
how that works.
As long as they don't give her like a promise.
I
ring
don't
or
know.
anything,
No, there wasn't none of
JD.
that.
Now I'll give him some good spots.
Yeah, now we'll share the good spots with him. He's a good kid. He's on the child's bass fishing team. He turkey hunt. He's I think he's killed 2 turkeys this year
That's cool.
already, maybe 3.
He hunts and fish. He's gonna be.
So
a good
he
kid.
hunts and fishes. I like him a lot, but I told him I'd take him fishing this evening. So.
You just need to make sure the boundary is set. You know, anything inappropriate.
Oh, I've shown him all the dead animals on the wall,
Okay, yeah.
and the the
And the
guns.
guns.
I've shared some of my cool guns with him. You know, so yeah, I'd probably get you at 600 yards, 700 yards with this. You that big thing on the end, that suppressor on the end. No,
You got any pictures of like dead people at crime scenes that
get
you can
you-
show him?
I do.
Get you an old ratty looking animal hide lampshade and go, you know, that's what people's skin looks like right there when you.
No, he really is a good kid. They actually met at Young Life, which is
that's a good thing.
the Christian-based group gathering they do on Mondays, and
I
It's
thought,
like
I thought that's one of those weird websites, you know.
no,
that you gotta
no,
be
it's
careful.
not, Charlie. It's not one of those.
What's the matter,
It's-
Grant?
It's like my middle child. He met his wife at church. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but we're anyway, we're gonna go see.
Well, you
if
know
we
what they
can't
say
catch
about
fish.
preachers and cops' kids and stuff.
Oh,
is,
they're the
you
worst.
know,
They're the worst.
Well, my wife is a preacher.
Which I don't
Yeah,
think they
there you
are.
go.
My
And
kids-
she ended up with you, Fred.
Yeah, we met in a bar. I mean,
My wife told me if we had met at the riverfront where we both hung out, that she would not have gone out with me. She says, I wouldn't have dated you if I had met you there. But we go there, that's different. I said, oh, I'm glad I met you in the hallway at the sheriff's office then, because, you know, that's even. Anyway.
Yeah. The Baptists call them PKs,
so what's a PK?
preacher kid.
Oh,
Preacher's kid. That's what the Baptists call them.
Kind of like rich people call them PJs, they're private jets.
No, it's just you have to watch out for the PKs. Preacher's
I
kids.
got one.
You rich, you got kids, so
I ain't rich. They took all my money.
your wife does. She got money.
Yeah, she got to keep hers. They took mine.
Oh well, it's such is life. There's a couple events coming up. I can't remember what it was. There was something. Oh, what was it?
What are you looking at me for?
Well,
I don't know what's floating around in that little.
Well, I do want to make an announcement. There was a couple of things coming up. I was talking to the sheriff over in Jackson the other day, and they've got a couple firearm safety classes coming up. The sheriff's office does over there, up at Chipolis Range, which is it's an introductory. Foot in the door, talk to you a little bit about gun safety, and let you shoot a couple
Kind of like
rounds.
NRA used to do that first shots.
Yeah, first shots kind of deal. And it's basically designed. It's funded by FDLE, and it's a grant, and they get to get the deputies out with some civilians and show them a few things. And but it's to open the door to people that are interested in it and make sure they understand how not to shoot a hole in the wall and yourself in the foot. And it's good stuff. Leon County just announced the other day they did one class anyway. So they've got 3 more classes coming up out at Pat Thomas. Leon County's using the same grant. And they're doing the same thing. It's sort of a first steps, foot in the door. If you're not real comfortable coming out here to a full-blown 8-hour day and getting that level of training on your first try, which you really should be comfortable doing because we use the same instructors that they do, plus some of our people. The sheriff's office, Lynn County Sheriff's Office, go to their website or their Facebook page. I think these classes are full now. But on April the 12th, the 26th, and on May the 10th.
But it doesn't. Does that get you a certificate?
No certificate. You don't get a concealed weapons class certificate or anything like that. But you get to go out to Pat Thomas. The only time you'll ever go to Pat Thomas, you get to go out there to Pat Thomas and shoot some of the sheriff's office's ammunition and their guns, and then when you're done, you can come here, and where you can access and get additional training. But I think it's cool that sheriff's offices and public safety offices are getting out there trying to promote gun safety in the community. Lord knows we've been doing it for how many years? A long time, and have trained tens of thousands of people over.
I think we incorporated in 98.
80, I said.
Not 88, 90 or 2008.
It was 2008. I know we've been doing this 14, 15 years.
I don't know how long. I can't do that math.
We've trained probably over 80,000 people through a very extensive. And our class is like 8 hours long, 9 hours long, and you shoot all kinds of different guns. And we spend an hour on just the law, and gun safety is additional. And we do scenario-based training. We just spent like another $20,000 on another scenario machine to do scenario-based training. We're not free.
How big is the classroom? How many people are in per class?
We don't have more than about 16, 18 people at a time, do we?
I think we can accommodate 20.
We can, but typically
try
a
to
full
keep it
class
around
is around 18. And we divide the class up halfway through the day at lunch, and we send some people to the range and some people to do scenarios so that you're fully utilizing the entire day.
Right. I think you get lunch for it too, don't you?
We feed you lunch. We give you some swag, give you a T-shirt.
Yeah, you get
Eyes and ears.
You get eyes and ears. We give you Talon Range branded eyes and ears.
My son did that class.
There's a lot of overhead goes into it, plus the instructor expense. JD and I don't make a ton of money on it, but it is part of what we do here. So we don't want to lose that to the government, but at the same time, at least these sheriff's offices and all are not going full bore and doing the level of training that we do. There's people that quite frankly, can't afford, our classes, and we hate that. But the fact is, it costs a lot of money to put them on.
Right.
And every year we have to reevaluate that cost. You got the taxpayers paying for it. That's a different story,
Right.
But it's, like I said, those are the dates. Go to their Facebook page and, consider showing up out there. Or you can just go to our Facebook page or our website and just sign right on up for an all-day class and go home with some swag and a certificate so you can get your concealed carry permit and shoot a bunch of different guns. And at the end of the day, you can walk right in our store and buy one of those guns that you shot. Hey, we'll be right back. We're back. So yeah, we got. I do want to remind everybody that coming up the Friday before Easter, isn't there something they call that something, don't they?
Masters.
Good
Week.
Friday?
It's a good day. I know that.
Good Friday.
Yeah, there you go. That's which day?
Oh
is?
no, that's Good Friday. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, on the April 18th, coming up a couple weeks, the Mariana FFA. It's a fundraiser for the FFA. It's a sporting clays tournament. There is a morning session and an afternoon session. It's big enough we have to split it into two, and it is in Mariana at my farm. And all that information is local. My wife hates the fact that they have to give out our address. Do keep in mind that I have video cameras everywhere, and I know exactly how far everything is from my shooting station on the front and the rear of the house. And so don't ever come messing with me. Motion-activated cameras.
505 yards to the mailbox.
399 yards to the front mailbox. I'm just saying.
like
I
how-
treat it like 4
That's a
because I
chip
can
shot.
be that far off. Yeah, that's not even – I don't even have to hold over on that.
I don't know why you
So-
need all that when you got that turkey.
And you won't hear it. You won't hear it. You'll hear the turkey, and I've got a guard turkey, and the dogs, and now goats, pigs. I've got 2 pigs now, and the chickens. Between all the chickens and everything else,
You get them ugly hogs?
yeah, the coonies. They're oh man, I got
got-
that old girl, Jolene,
Easy now.
Jolene.
Easy.
You can't tell when she's standing up and laying down because her legs are so short, and she gets up and all you hear is
All right, be
You
careful.
can't-
all you hear.
You can't roll one out
Yes.
there like that because me and Fred are both sitting here with the bat cocked back, just ready to knock that one out of the park. And
It
that's
gets
not
worse.
good.
When she finally gets up, all you hear is,
That sounds like me in the mornings. Now, hang on.
and I purposefully to get her some exercise when I go out there and feed her. And I go sling some cracked corn and some well, all I got is goat feed right now. But
mean, you
I go out there
always
and
been a
I'll
little
pick
off,
the far
farm
end of
stuff is-
I'll pick the far end of the hog pen to put it in, and she'll get up and she'll go. And this little old boar hog, he runs to one end to the other, runs around in circles and stuff. He just doesn't know there's nut cutting time coming up. And he's getting it down the road, but he's
You're going to be a bar hog for long.
well. I got my fence is supposed to be done here by the time this show airs, and I'll have my gates up and they go into pasture, and then I'm going cow shopping. So thanks again to Bo Wells
Change your
at
name to
Hook and W
McDonald or something.
for getting our barbed wire fence put up in a timely fashion, and I highly recommend Bo if you're trying to get some major fencing done. He runs a couple crews, and man, there's some good
You
looking
need to
stuff
get a
out there.
picture of you and your wife standing out front of the house with you hold a pitchfork.
pitchfork,
out.
yeah.
You
I
know,
don't even own a pitchfork.
American Gothic.
I own
Name
some,
of that painting.
I own some
There you
shovels and a rake.
You impressed, Fred? I knew artwork. Name of a piece of artwork.
I don't even have a hoe.
I got 2 hoes.
I want one of those with the spinning things.
One at the
on it,
house and one at the beach.
I have a hoe for pulling hysons.
A what? No,
Nice.
Pulling
hyacinths.
hysons.
Oh, the weeds?
Yeah, on the
Okay.
way.
You got a weed hoe?
Probably be a good for a tater rake. Potato rake would probably
perfect.
be good
That's
for
what I
that.
use.
So you'd call that a weed hoe.
I just fenced it in and put 2 pigs on it and let them eat whatever weeds I want pulled up. I'm scared they're going to get out and get in our blueberries because they're looking pretty good.
You got
I
one
have
to
gone
fill-
full-blown homesteader now, if you hadn't picked up on that. It's
Yeah,
How
you
many,
have.
how many acres is a farm?
a lot.
It's a lot of acres.
It's more than – I put it this way. I fenced in a corner of it, and that was 45, so –
Plenty of room for the
It's
skeet
enough.
range.
It's enough.
and all the animals.
Yeah. Well, there's quail hunting on one end. I've got the quail pens up across the road on Daddy's side of the road, and then we've got started doing some burning. I went out and was going to burn a little pile last night. There was just a few little bushes I had piled up down where they'd been clearing the fence, and it was dark. It's below the size that you can burn. It's like 8-foot pile, and took the flamethrower and went and drove off. And I came back after I went up and fed the birds, and I get back to the house and I look and there's this glow on the horizon, and I'm like, well, that's not an 8-foot pile. Well, apparently next to the 8-foot pile was about 40 yards of underbrush that it was surrounded by water.
Imagine
and
that.
all places
wonder
I
if
had
that's where that
already
smoke
burnt and it just didn't burn the other day when I had burned. And my wife comes home and she's like, what is going
It's a
on
fire.
back there? And I went, it's all right, it'll be all right.
Did you see all that smoke yesterday?
They won't see the smoke at night.
Burning, I think, Eye of All plantations
Oh,
doing
that's
a
what-
bunch of control burn.
Wondering if that was Charlie's.
Man, I breathe.
Fire
That's
got out
all
of
I get
control.
to breathe with all the plantations that where I
Oh,
live.
yeah.
Depending on
Oh,
which
yeah.
way the wind's going, I look out in the yard. I can't see
Boy,
my mailbox.
California sure
It was
don't
all
do
the way
that. do they?
downtown though yesterday.
Oh yeah, it's been out here. This far
They've
away.
been burning off Seminole land between spring.
It just
Creek
seems
and
like
Flint.
spring came a little earlier this year than it normally. We already got the squiggles out.
It started on. I looked at the calendar. It's the same day.
Yep. Straight
No.
up.
I mean, the you know what I'm talking about. It was, it's
I
like
seldom know what you're
the
talking about,
blooms
Fred.
the blooms
Yeah.
are coming in earlier than they did.
Oh man, I tell you, riding through my neighborhood through Clarn Lakes, I don't know what's different about the weather this year, but the Cherokee rose. You know what the Cherokee
Yeah.
rose is? It's a vine, has a little white
Yeah.
or big white flowers on it. All the oak trees all over the neighborhood have got these Cherokee rose blooming, all blooming at one time. They are just absolutely gorgeous right now, and everybody's azaleas are blooming.
Oh yeah, Zay's
And
on my place.
the occasional dogwood. I mean,
I'm just
dogwoods.
wondering if I waited too late to plant. I mean, I've got pretty much everything in the ground.
Nah, just keep putting water to it. It'll be all right.
Yeah, that's what I did. I got the peppers in last weekend, and I grew an entire row of ghost peppers just for you, Charlie. I'll be bringing them in. We should have a pepper eating contest. On the
No.
air.
Just don't
No.
say I'm out.
No, you know.
I
Have
lose.
you seen?
I
Have
lose.
you seen the guys on what the thing on the
Instagram?
no the TikTok channel that, or it might be that sit around and eat nasty food and the guy that
Yeah,
constantly retches all the time. That would be you.
They're from here in the Panhandle somewhere. They're
Those
just,
guys are
just
funny.
west of us.
Those guys are funny. Eating everything from Rocky Mountain oysters to pig's
I will
feet
not-
to hot stuff, trying hot stuff, and people write in and challenge them to do this stuff. And I can tell you on every video, somebody's puking.
Yeah, I imagine.
When you get the guy on the left to puke, then it's bad. But the guy on the right, he's gonna puke.
He's like Fred. Anything you talk about,
Yeah,
you talk
know-
about it.
I think they ought to try some coot poop and crackers.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
I think
What's
they
the
ought
matter,
to.
Fred?
I already.
Have they done that? Have they done that fermented fish stuff? That
Yes.
They,
Well,
the
it was
strong-
fermented shark. I think it was fermented shark, and it was. I mean, I think it stunk before they opened the thing. It was just. What?
I can't
They
remember
need- talk about
They need Fred as a guest.
because of that because of that reaction.
I already had a bout with it this morning brushing my teeth. 'Cause, if I got one of those toothbrushes that does the zzz,
yeah.
and it stuck it back too far in my.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
I'm sitting. Wife's like,
What
"What's
is-
wrong with you?" I'm like, "You ask me that 15 times a day." I mean,
In what way do you mean now, honey?
so I don't know if y'all know this. We had a Supreme Court decision came out this week.
On the ghost guns,
Yeah. Have you read the
Ghost
opinion?
guns.
I did not. I haven't read it yet.
So the opinion is, it's pretty. What's different about this opinion is it's got a bunch of pictures in it.
That's odd.
Yeah, color pictures. So on both the dissent and because Thomas did a dissent,
Yeah, I know
Alito
he-
did a dissent. Thomas, I'm in line with him on this. I mean, I'm surprised that Roberts doesn't surprise me, but I'm surprised that Gorsuch, he wrote the majority.
So what was the gist of it?
The gist of it is whether or not the ATF could expand the definition of a firearm to include a ghost gun kit. The particular kit in this case was labeled as a buy, build, shoot kit. It's a disassembled ghost gun, basically, that they
80% lower with
Yeah.
the rest of the gun
Yeah.
already
Yeah,
made.
Polymer 80.
and
Yeah.
you
And
get
some other
in,
companies.
and they got to if you look at the picture of the ghost gun at first glance, you'd say, well, yeah, I mean that looks like a firearm to me, and it does. It doesn't look much different than a Glock. But then if you go look at Justice Thomas, and he starts saying, okay, let's look at the kit, and then he's got here's a picture in here. I was just looking at it earlier, and the question is, can you expand the definition of a firearm that Congress narrowed in 1968 from the 1938 rule that would have included a ghost gun? If you looked at the 1938, what was it, gun, the GF Act or whatever it's
NFA,
called.
National Firearms Act.
Okay, the National Firearms Act of 38. Then the Gun Control Act of 68 narrowed the 38 decision. So the 38 decision had it wasn't a decision; it was a statute passed by Congress.
Right. It was an act. It was passed
congressional
and
act,
signed,
which
yes.
is where laws are supposed to be made.
Mm-hmm. Every time.
Yeah, and apparently we got a few members of the Supreme Court that have diverted from what they told us when they got confirmed that they weren't.
Well, what about the
business of
Chevron
making
deference?
law.
What about the Chevron deference decision? How did it not infringe on that very, very recent decision on their part that says regulatory agencies can't?
So this is a picture that I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's the jig and that's the lower itself and the jig that you put it in there to
not a firearm, and you can see the only difference is that this has a couple of screws and parts that go to it.
Those are drill bits actually, and that is so you got the not complete receiver,
right?
And then they were selling a jig, so is a tool that clamps onto it that shows you where to drill the holes and what parts of the receiver to mill out to make it a functional receiver. In that it will hold the parts that you need to make that other piece work.
It's silly.
So can the ATF define that as a firearm? Yes or no?
They can define that in the photos, and this is page. You can Google the opinion. The opinion is called. Page 48.
So we lost.
We lost.
Okay, that's what I was.
We lost 7-2, and I've got a problem.
Well, that's not a bunch of metal in a forge and an old guy making a musket right there. That looks like a gun part, and all you have to do is drill out 3 holes, and it becomes a firearm.
It's actually.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
It's actually a little more than that, Charlie. You got to drill out the holes, and then you have to go into the interior of the receiver and mill out the space.
Yeah.
But
I don't. You give them an inch and they take a mile.
But it's
every time.
It's still legal to make your own gun, though, if you have the ability to do that.
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back.
All right, we were talking about the Supreme Court decision when we left on ghost gun / gun kits, and so
which they're basically called.
Just can you summarize what this means?
Yeah, so they get into the case dealt with the statutory definition of the word weapon, which includes frames and receivers. Mm-hmm. And what this decision addressed is whether you have an unfinished frame. That is, you got a frame for your barrel and an unfinished receiver that you actually have to drill and make. Is that a weapon? And the court ruled that it was, and I don't like the decision. I think it expands the definition of a frame and a receiver when you start talking about unfinished parts. And when you do that, that is not a court's job to do that. That is the legislature's job, Congress's job.
Well, and that's exactly what the whole Chevron deference case was about, with dealing with the EPA and saying basically the Chevron deference case, correct me if I'm wrong, Fred, said that bureaucratic agencies do not have the authority to make law and then enforce that law within their department, if you will, or within their bureaucracy.
Well, it said under circumstances that would change the definition of the law,
right,
they can't do that. So, in other words, if Congress gives an administrative agency rulemaking authority, which it does, I don't think they should, but it does, they can't go in and write the rule to change the definition of the statute. That's what Chevron deference said. Okay. That's exactly what this court is doing.
So what you're saying is the ATF has interpreted that item as being something.
That's
based
correct.
on their interpretation of what they see.
And in doing so, as Justice Thomas writes, and I agree with him, in doing so they've changed the definition of a weapon. Yeah. They've expanded it.
So so in my mind, and I'm taking the devil's advocate view on this thing. So they've given the ATF the discretion to decide what something is that they're looking at based on their opinion.
Which mark my word.
Which
mark my word. Here's what's next. The top half, so an AR-15, which is what they're going after. Mm-hmm. There's hands down, there's no question what they're going after. Even though ARs are used in a really small percentage of crime, where handguns are used in a very large percentage of crime, they're going after the AR-15. The AR-15 has a 2-piece receiver. It has the lower receiver and the upper receiver that are clamshell that fit together and get held on with 2 different pins. Mark my word, upper receivers will be deemed to be a firearm. because they don't like the fact that Grant can order a upper receiver for his existing serialized, transferred after a background check, paperwork trail, lower receiver. He can go buy a different upper receiver and clamp it on there. So they're going. They hate.
And change the caliber.
That's exactly what I did on yours.
I mean, we just switch out the barrel. That's it.
Yeah.
It's the same gun.
So you can change the caliber, you can change the length, you can change. There's a lot of things you can do. They're a very modular system. It's no different. You buy a Harley Davidson, the first thing you do is start bolting crap on it.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what you do. You buy a 4-wheel drive pickup truck when you're
Put a
redneck,
winch on it.
and you start putting crap on there. Or if you buy a Prius and you're Charlie Strickland, you put a lift kit on it.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, so I guarantee you the next thing they will do, you will see this, is the ATF will try to say.
I don't think they're going to do it under Trump, but if he ever gets out of there, they are.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't. When I say the next thing, that next thing might not come around for 10 years or 8 years or whatever, however many years.
16. I mean,
Well,
Right.
part of this is,
But it's coming.
Part of this
Write
is
that
also,
down.
it's coming.
Part of this is also industry driven, because when it was just a chunk of aluminum that looked vaguely like an AR-15, and you had to really do machining
When it was
on
forged into the original
Right.
forging, yes.
And that was like, okay, well, yeah, you can turn that in, but it's still just a chunk of metal. And okay, we're going to refine it a little more. We're going to refine it a little more. We're going to refine it.
We're
going to
refine it 80%.
And now we're
going
going to refine it, put it in a jig, give you the drill bits and instructions on how to turn it into a gun. If the industry doesn't push, then they don't get the push back sometimes. But how do you test
But
the
the
limits?
law also allows for you to make your own gun.
Yeah.
The ATF rules allow for you, Charlie Strickland, if
Yep.
you want to go build
can't
your
buy a
own
kit.
gun.
You can build it.
You just can't buy a kit that's going to help you.
And so there's a certain amount of balance, and I don't know that a statute is ever going to really clear that up either.
Probably not.
Anyway, we'll be back. And we're back. This is one of those days where we have all the political discussions off on the breaks more than we do on the air.
That's
And,
all right, too.
So it's hard to tell sometimes when we're actually recording and when we're not. So
Don't worry, I'm keeping track of it all.
are you?
Something's
Okay.
been sticking in my craw this week. Is
Yeah.
these doggone Tesla vandals.
Well, they were the ones that were applauding Tesla not long ago and
Yeah.
telling us we all had to drive electric cars and we were mandated to do it. And then all of a sudden now they're wanting to set them all on fire.
Yeah, and key 'em, and you got these guys in pajamas. First off, if you're wearing pajamas and you're a dude and you're over 20, and you're
I'd
wearing,
say over
wearing
16. Let's go with 16.
all right, fine, I'll go there. If you're a dude and you're wearing pajamas in public, you ought to be imprisoned as a domestic terrorist to begin with, because you already terrorized me wearing your Lilo and Stitch pajamas walking around in public.
Well, I
Your
mean,
onesie?
there should be at Walmart. You're going to expect that kind of
Well,
thing.
there's an
But
exception for
beyond
Walmart.
Walmart.
Yeah, no.
You know,
it's
if you're
almost-
traveling to or from a local Walmart,
Kind of like the
or
open carry
kinda
in
like
Florida,
open carry,
to
yeah.
and from the range,
to
hunting,
and
fishing,
from a
camping,
Walmart,
or
then
No,
a
there
lot of
is
things
an
are excused.
exception. There's that's the Walmart exception. It's written in the dude's code.
Sir, I'm Deputy Strickland from the Sheriff's Office. The reason I stopped you tonight is because you're behaving erratically, driving all over the road,
And you're wearing a onesie.
You're wearing a onesie. Is there any reason?
Yeah,
any
I'm going to
reason
Walmart,
for this behavior?
going to
sir,
Walmart.
I'm going to Walmart.
Oh.
You have a
Have
good
a good
evening,
one,
sir.
man. Have a good one.
You have a good evening.
Yeah.
1098 resolved.
You know, back when Elvis the iguana was, he wasn't as mean as he was. I used to carry him in Walmart just to get a reaction.
Of course you did.
Uh-huh.
I got a chicken. I'm
Charlie,
working on being
I
able
was
to
going
do
to
that
say,
with.
Charlie working on the shoulder chicken. You're going to get you one of them make you a leather gauntlet, like they wear
Oh,
for
like the falconry?
like the falconry gauntlets.
Yeah.
Get you a leather
yeah.
gauntlet
Yeah,
and,
they're like
and
the
park
fal-
that chicken up there on it and go into the Walmart and say, "This is my tack chicken. Y'all better back up."
Well, I'm gonna teach that chicken to poop on demand.
Then
You
bring it
better
in and
look
let
out.
Fred-
Leave that damn chicken at
Talking about,
home.
hey, you ever seen a chicken butt? No, why? Look at this.
It's just, y'all
get it.
sick. I mean,
I have 2 incubators with 6 turkey eggs in each one right now, 7 in one. Just that's what we had.
You
My
look
wife went out the other day and looked at Lacey the turkey and said, "Hey, baby girl," and she squatted down and popped an egg out and walked off. Like, well, there you go.
There you go.
That's what I think of
She
you.
sent me a video Saturday. We were up there at the soccer game last Saturday, playing the ABAC college, and she sent me a video of her petting your turkey that don't like your gobbler. He ain't no Jake anymore. He might be named Jake, but he ain't is far from a Jake anymore.
Jacob. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jacobson was his original.
Yeah.
I guess he was. Anyway,
She's just loving on that thing, and he's just sitting there letting her pet him and everything. The one that
he
gets
wouldn't
after
let
him.
me put water. I was heading out here today, and I looked over there, and she had told me last night, "Hey, they're out of water." I went over there and I put some water in the bucket, and I'm trying to set it over the fence, and I got a turkey in my face, flapping his wings, trying to hit me. I'm like, if it wasn't for those chickens that I actually care about that are thirsty, I would let you just suffer.
You need to have you a Doug. You need to get you a dug well. You need to dig you a well out there, and be like old Clovis Ledbetter. And Uncle Versey told him to go water the chickens, and he was around there gathering the chickens up and throwing them down in the well, and said, "Y'all drink. There's plenty of it." He said they drawed feathers up out of that well for 6 months.
Have you considered trying music therapy on that turkey?
Ooh.
Go there and play him a song. Play him some music.
You're gonna keep on and get some lead therapy.
6 days. I could fix that.
Oh, we got the guys that are building the fence right now are not from around here.
You told us about last week
And
about them hemming him up.
They
hemming
show
him
up
in the
and
truck.
they pull in there in the morning, and if Pavo Loco is out, it's Pavo Loco. If Pavo Loco is out, they sit in the truck till my wife goes out there and puts the turkey up.
Yeah.
And then they get out of the truck. They got and the thing, I had my dogs and the turkey both had them hemmed up. The dogs and the turkey sort of had a standoff in the yard, and then they were in the middle. And Donna said, I don't know which ones they were scared of, but one or the other had them staying in the truck. And I'm like, well, they're cutting in our fence building time. You need to go out there and run them. And so the turkey anyway.
Tell them to bring that turkey a taco.
They'll eat it. They'll eat anything.
Yeah.
They're pretty.
We feed them table. No, now that we got the pigs, most of the table scraps are going to the pig pen.
Fred laugh. That's the kind of noises I make every morning, getting up, trying to get up out of the bed, getting all the joints working.
So I've had a lot of pigs in my when we were younger. That's what drove my brother to go to law school was growing up on a pig farm. He left. He went to law school, so he didn't have to work like that again.
You don't make noises like that, Fred.
No.
There's a reason. You ain't got near as many metal parts in you as I got in me.
Well, maybe that's what it is.
The-
Just don't make
the-
no noise.
The metal joints get rusty during the night when you lay there still. You got to get up and get things moving around in the morning.
No. The only noise you hear is my wife yelling at me, why are you not up yet?
I don't doubt that.
And that's about the only noise I get.
I control my schedule. I'll get up when I want to. You tell her that.
Yeah, I'll do it. I will.
She will beat
Let
him.
me,
She will beat him.
let me tell you how it's going to be.
You,
Yeah.
you don't rule me. I will do what I want, woman. Do that.
Yeah.
Tell her that.
Yeah, I call her woman all the time.
Yeah,
It's
you
great.
go ahead. Then let me know how it goes because I'd like to try it, but I'm scared to.
I
No,
just
when I
I
took-
say yes, ma'am. That's the easiest, man. That's the best wedding or best marriage advice I can give any young fella that's has gotten married recently or is thinking about getting. Learn to say yes, ma'am. Nod your head and go on about your business.
Well, now that it's getting warm,
Makes life easy.
5 minutes
Water
later,
snakes.
forget. Well, you don't even remember
You
what
ain't
she
got to.
said.
You ain't got to do
okay.
nothing. You just got to say
Well,
yes,
then you
ma'am.
beg
and walk
forgiveness
off.
later on. Go, I
I'm
forgot.
sorry. I'm an idiot.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
I
missed it.
apologize.
I got distracted.
Yep.
But I meant to do it. But thank you for handling that, honey.
now that it's getting warm, the water
Right,
snakes
Grant?
start coming out at night. And, I like catch them at night and wife sleep, and I'll take a picture with one on her head.
Yeah.
And
The
then
what
send it
comes
to her
out at
next
night?
morning. The water snakes.
Oh,
And that does wonders for our marriage.
Man, I ain't no telling what my wife would do to me. She don't like. We've got those little. It's some kind of. It's not a native creature. It's a little gecko, little brown sand
Oh, yeah,
colored
that little thing.
little geckos, all over our front porch and our back porch. And I like them because they eat the bugs, and then living as close to the lake as I do, mosquitoes are in no short supply around my house most of the time. And buddy, you let one of them things fall off the door frame when she's walking out the back door to let the dog out or something at night, and she's not
She
happy.
don't like reptiles?
She's not happy with that at all. No,
Amphibians, whatever.
none of them.
Well, it's getting to be that season when the palmetto bugs are going to be flitting around here and there, and my wife it gets very unreasonable.
Those things will attack you.
Oh, I've seen what your wife does.
So it was the cotton exchange in Savannah. And one went crawling across the wall when we sat down to have dinner up there, and she about
Everybody in the restaurant knew there was a roach on the wall near us.
But we went back
Did it
this
fly?
year. She enjoyed it.
It didn't
No,
come out.
no.
The ones
was-
that fly, the palmetto bugs that fly across the room.
That's
and
what
try
this
to-
was.
That's what it
just,
was.
It just didn't take off.
I mean, it seems like every time I'm around one, they want to do a
Don't
kamikaze on
don't
it.
park under an oak tree and leave your windows down.
They
Oh,
get
yeah?
in there.
I
Why
had
is
an infestation when I was a kid.
A palmetto bug?
Man had to come spray to exterminate, had to spray the car. There was roaches running everywhere because I left
Bet
the
that
windows
smelled
down a
good.
I ever
couple
tell
nights in a
you?
row.
I tell you about the
Crazy.
story that had the guy out at Walmart on the east side of town on the Parkway that had the roaches in his car, and he went to the Walmart and got the roach bomb. So I get a call one night.
Was it me?
I was a watch commander. I drive out to the Walmart because there had been a explosion. And I get there, and there's a Ford Bronco or Explorer sitting out there with no windows in it, and all the airbags are deployed. And the guy went in and got him a roach bomb, a bug bomb, and put it in there and set it off while he was in it. And then he got out, he set it off. He went and got back in the thing to drive away, and he lit a cigarette. And it went boom. It deployed the airbags and blew out the windows. And yeah, they
Did he
thought
survive?
they thought it was like a terrorist attack, or it was a car bomb, and there was a vehicle blew up. There was an explosion, and so I ease out there. We're like, well, let's go see what's going on. And
Well, two
yeah,
questions: did he live, and did the roaches?
I don't. Well, he couldn't hear anything we was telling him, so it was one of those. I don't know, Fred. I
Apparently,
left.
bug bombs is flammable.
I got out of there before they generated paperwork. We'll be right back. And we're back.
Take
Well.
us fishing. I'm ready to go fishing.
I tell you, it has been good.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Right now, the bass are, I would say on Seminole about halfway through the spawn. I know on Talon they've been spawning pretty good too, and all the lakes around the area. Have you been seeing any big ones around your pond?
I hadn't looked. I'm gonna look this weekend.
Yeah, take a lizard.
This
They-
about time when they start doing it, I think.
Yes, sir. It sure is. And we got a new moon when the show comes on Saturday. But man, I tell you, I think the shell crackers, they usually start in April, but it seems like I'm wanting to see them. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking it's late, but it's not. I'm thinking the next.
Well, we
week-
ain't far off from April.
So
No, we're not. It's coming, and I'm starting to see them kind of gather, but not really seeing any on the bed yet. But that's going to be fun. I think this year is going to be really good.
So I got a question for you. I've heard two schools of thought on this. I'm interested to hear yours. If you take a female bass off the bed and release it back, does it do anything to that bass?
No,
You don't
I
think
mean
so?
catch it and really. And
Yeah, you
Catch and
it,
release. Will she go back to the
Will
bed?
she go back to the bed and
how far are we taking her?
just right there? Just take a picture of it and
No.
release it.
No, they'll go right back.
Go right back to the bed. Catch it again.
Yeah, or might.
No, she ain't gonna bite that no more. She ain't gonna bite that bait again.
Yeah, she might not bite that one, but they will typically go back. They might swim away to recover, but they're going back.
I mean, when you're catching a spawn or a what do you call that? A nursing, a sitting,
Spawning bass.
a spawning bass. I mean, they're guarding the eggs.
Here's what happens. Typically, a male will come in and make the bed,
Yeah,
and then the females.
and he guards the bed while it's spawning.
Well, then the females will start coming into the area,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you ever catch a bigger size female, there'll be spots on them where the male comes and bumps them to the bed. That's what they do.
Right.
And then the female, when she's ready, she'll come lay the eggs. That's when the male will sit there and guard that.
Which is in order to catch the female, you got to catch the male, put him in the live well.
Not necessarily.
Oh, you don't?
No. When you see them, they'll kind of be rolling. That's when they're actually.
When the female, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but when it's always been my understanding that when the female bass are on the bed, you see and we're talking about most of the time a 4-pound bass or bigger. Sometimes the male
It's
bass
always
are
going to be
little-
the bigger one.
Male bass are kind of like you, Fred. They little fellas, but female bass won't feed on the bed. but they will, if you throw a bait in there on it,
They'll try to move it off.
the only way the only ability they have to move it is to pick it up with their mouth, and they'll go over there. And I've seen that when you throw a salamander or something on bed, that old bass will suck that thing up, pick it up, go over to the edge of the bed and spit it out. So you don't have a big long amount of time normally. They don't sit there and hold it in the mouth.
I'll tell you something I've noticed for about 10 years. I spent time trying to catch females when they're hanging around the bed. And I don't know if this is scientifically true, but my research for myself is after Hurricane Michael, before Hurricane Michael, the females would come in and hang around the bed. They'd stay. After that storm, they come in, drop their eggs, are gone.
Really?
Yeah, it's been. I don't know if that's scientific. I just noticed that.
That's
'cause I'm on
on
the water a lot, you know, and I really spend a lot of time watching fish on the bed. I was doing that yesterday, and you'll have females in the area. They'll come and they'll be together, but as soon as they drop their eggs, they're leaving. Now, some lakes like Talon, they stay.
Well,
They follow, they stay.
I've seen my granddaddy and I fishing back in the day up on Lake Seminole, and you'd see a big female bass on the bed, and you throw something in there, a worm or something in there, and they literally suck water in and blow
That's
the water
right.
out and
That's
move
right.
that worm off the bed.
That's
It's
right.
like it's aggravating. He would sit there and have 4 different lures tied on.
That's right.
And sit there and mess with that thing until he made her mad enough to hit it. I think
Yeah,
is
you
what
know,
it was more about. It was more about defending the nest or whatever than it was
right.
actually her feeding on something.
And
Right.
that's what I was trying to tell some customers today. My last trip, we caught like 30 bass. Had a really good day, but I kept having to tell them you can just slow down because if this is the bed, and the fish is guarding this bed, and you bring the bait by fast, they'll watch it go by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They won't even mess with it. But if you bring it by very slow, they'll come over, and a lot of times they'll come over and if this is your bait, they'll press down on it. A lot of times this time of year, it'll hook them in their stomach
Really?
because they're just kind of kill it. They're just pressing on it.
Yeah, they're doing more defense. It's more of a defensive thing than it is a feeding thing, and that's what I was trying
like
to
up
say.
at Eufaula, we made that long run, and we went down there. I saw some females the day before hanging around where they were bedding. And so from just doing it, I knew kind of there's the bed. There's a 3.5 pound male on it. I'm gonna throw over there to catch a female. Lucky cast the right where she was at and caught a 6 pounder. You know what I mean? From knowing she was in the area.
Right. Well, I've seen my granddaddy sit there and throw worms on the bottom or salamander lizards back when they first started making lizard plastic worms or plastic baits. And
remember the kangaroo worm you put in the little pouches?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a Tom Mann bait.
That's right. That's right.
But but I remember him, and he'd say, "Ah, dadgummit," and she ain't hit nothing, and he'd take either a Brokeback Rebel or a Bagley's Bangalore with the little spinner, on the back, just a stick bait, a top water bait, and he'd sit there and throw it on top of that that bed, and just barely twitch it. He wasn't retrieving it. He'd just throw that top water bait out there and make a little noise on the water, like hovering right over top of that bass. And eventually, and it may take 3 or 4 times of just worrying that thing to death sitting there. And eventually they get mad enough to come up there and get it.
See, right now you have
Get a
you have
mouthful
lot
of treble hooks.
Golden lake shiners. The roaches.
They eat eggs.
They eat eggs.
Oh, so that'd be a good bait.
And yeah, it is a very good bait. And I tell you, with the fish, there's a lot of nutrients in it. You know what I mean? Them females will eat shiners right now.
Oh yeah, they'll eat
Well,
shiners
especially-
pretty much when
That's
they
the
won't
kind
eat
of
nothing
baits I'm
else.
throwing tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you ever do live bait for bass with your customers?
Yes, I have. Not as much now. When I first went up to Jack Wingetson when I was 18, he said, "Boy, we don't shiner fish up here." I was like,
That's cheating.
"Really? All these people, back then there was 20 guys," and he goes,
And you growing up on Lake Jackson, that's what you did.
That's right. And I asked him, 10 years later, I'm like, "Richard Jack, why you tell me bass don't bite shiners on this lake?" He said, "Son, I didn't want to mess with them and sell them because it's too easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy."
Yeah, I remember, man, back in the day when Lake Jackson was a world famous big bass destination.
Yeah.
Those big old golden shiners up there, you could sell the heck out of golden shiners back then
I would
for
have.
$1 a piece.
Is that the same
40
thing as a
holes baited up.
roachfish? Is that
Yes.
what-
Yeah.
Okay.
You
all
got
right.
them in your pond, I promise you.
Yeah, I know. I got them in there.
Yeah, but you could
So
go up
we
there.
call
and-
them roachfish.
Yep, roaches.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yep.
But you go out there and put cat food or something in the water and gather them things up and throw a cast net on them and sell them for $1 a piece to people.
That's right. I would come up and shake my pole and just tap it on the water. Here they come. I'd catch me a dozen or so, throw a little handful of feed, go fish, go sell them.
Yeah, we got them. I got them in my pond. I know that.
Yeah, that's good bait.
Yeah, it's
But throwing a shiner is like, some people enjoy watching a cork. My first customer caught a 14-ounce pounder. First person I ever got, caught a 14-ounce pounder on the shiner. And since I've been up to Lake Seminole, all those personal bests have been on lures, and that person caught that fish.
Yeah.
It's different. You throw the shiner, you sit and watch, which is okay. Some people like to do it. I get it.
yeah, there ain't nothing
What I
wrong
like
with
to teach them how to catch how to work the bait to catch. They caught that
it. Yeah,
fish.
catching
know what I
fish on an artificial lure is a very different skill set
different
than
skill set.
than
But
pitching.
yes, I
I
definitely
love to
do
take
that.
shiners with kids
Yes.
to catch fish, and I
Yes.
didn't know if you ever.
And let me
if you
share
ever
this
messed
with y'all. I started this year. Usually when the crappie move on the beds, I'm done with that, and I start bass fishing this spring. But this year we started using minnows, and let me tell you,
On,
Jay, I've had some trips.
on
I've
the
been-
perch.
Yeah.
Yes, crappie, and I'm sitting there.
Softly.
I'm using live scope, JD, and I'm watching the cork and my weight and the minnow. I'm seeing the minnow swimming around on the live scope, and I watch the crappie come up. And I go, "Get ready, sir! He's fixing to bite it." He sits there and he just turns his head up, and I say 5, 4. I said, "Your cork's going under." So that
Yeah.
should be illegal.
When you
yeah.
say minnows, you're
that
talking
is
about the little
fun.
bitty things?
Little live minnows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the little ones that you,
Yeah,
you
just
just
cast
scoop them
them
up
out
with
there.
a cast net.
that's right.
Like
That's
a
been-
dip
that's
net,
been
you can
neat.
catch them in those.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Bass will hit them too.
Oh yeah.
Bass will eat anything
Caught
from
some
their
yellow perch this year.
Really?
Yes, got some yellow perch. I had a lady wanting to come up and go just far her from Michigan. And I go, "Ma'am, I don't fish. We catch them all by accident. I don't really know how to go target yellow perch. I didn't, you know what I mean. But the bass love them too.
Yeah, they're the yellow perch are. I've basically caught 2 in my life.
Yeah.
Lake Seminole was the
Yep.
first one. Didn't have a clue what it was until I called
Me too.
I called somebody and said, "What in the world is this thing?"
And it's very good eating. It's in the walleye. She told me it's in the walleye family.
Yeah,
And it's
it's a Yankee perch.
That's right.
It's yellow with green horizontal
That's right.
stripes on them.
That's right.
Okay.
And it's kind of a reddish color in their fins, but they are good to eat.
Very
my
good.
daughter caught a big one up on Lake Eufaula a few years ago, and we fried it up, and it was good. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
But
Well, I'm gonna have to go fishing this weekend.
now I'm going just as soon as y'all be quiet, and the timer runs out.
I mean, Charlie hadn't said a word in the last.
He's over here.
Take some
He's
of
over
I'm
here
just
taking
listening.
watching video of him petting his them ugly
We have to
hogs.
put. We have to put them hogs on the.
Watch this video.
All right, we'll see y'all next time.
See ya.